Hey, what's up, guys? Roland Wolf here. Hope everyone had a good Memorial Day weekend and back refreshed and ready to go. I know I got some good rest in there, which was nice. Um, Anyways, we'll get right into some trade recaps from today, 6th of September, and I netted about 2,200 on two trades. And then I have a third that I'm holding overnight, and I'm up about 1,500 on that. But it was a good day overall, and let's get right into the trades for you. So, we'll get into the loss first, and it was IDXG, and it's one that I've been basically avoiding to the long side due to a bunch of warrants. On the right, you see the daily chart. And they had a bunch of warrants here, and they at 135, I think. I haven't checked up on those since these couple days, but today it did break over this high from the 15th, and got as high as 170 something, 172 or 173. And I missed most of this due to a couple of other plays I was looking at, and I just hadn't planned on doing this, on buying this stock due to those warrants. I didn't think it could really pop. Of course, I was wrong. And for now, it's pretty strong. It may head up to the twos tomorrow even. But either way, I was buying. I think I ended up with a 167 average, so just at the top of this range today, and I really wasn't happy with the entry, but I think I got a little FOMO going on, and you know, if you look back at the daily chart on the right, let's get a longer time frame quickly. So here's year to date, and in fact, let's go back a little bit further even. So anyone who was trading back in December would definitely know IDXG because it had this ridiculous run from 120s all the way to 20 in 3 days, and it was just a massive move. But just like any chart that you see that goes parabolic like this and goes supernova, this is the product. I think they did a financing over here or something like that. They needed money. I made good money on this to the long side. I was playing it this day, and I didn't catch even half of this move, but I think I made a couple bucks a share, which was amazing. Anyway, so you remember runners like this, and so do other people. But if you don't know the history of IDXG, it'd be really easy to think it can run like this. Only difference is that between December and now, they've done a ton of dilution. They've issued a ton of shares to raise money, and that's why the stock price has suffered all the way back to the ones. I think it even got sub 1 for a minute there. Yeah, it did. It was sub 1 in the last couple weeks even. Point being is that when they issue that many shares and there's that much dilution, you have to adjust your expectations. It's not gonna. I mean, it was doing some decent volume, but it's not going to spike to $20 in 3 days. It's just not possible with that many shares. And so that's why, I haven't been excited. I've been more short biased on IDXG, but today, it looked like it was moving. So I did chase. I got in at 167, and I took a pretty small position. But it was a chase. It wasn't a good entry, and I was being impatient. And then when we got this drop here, this is the 5-minute chart, by the way. No more than 30 minutes after entering my position, we got a drop from 170 down to 155, and I got spooked like in the low 160s, I think, and just took off. It was about a $250 loss, so it wasn't a big deal, but it was still just kind of an unnecessary trade. A better trade would have been to wait for a dip like this and then buy it here at this breakout level from August 15th over here, 155 or so is actually the breakout level for today, for the multi-day breakout actually, if you look here. So that would have been a much better entry for sure. Now I could have held and been up a little bit now, but that's the problem when you chase and you get a bad entry. I mean, things happen, and so that's that. It wasn't an exciting trade, and not particularly proud of it, but I cut losses quickly, and I'll never complain about that. So there's IDXG. Next, let's get into SDRL, I believe. If we do SDRL, let's see. Okay, here's SDRL. And actually, let me get over to, one second. Get a couple of these. Well, this is fine actually. So here's the daily chart on the right for SDRL, and on the left you have a 15-minute chart actually. Here's the last 2 days on a 15-minute chart. Now it's a beaten down stock and they're on the verge of bankruptcy, but 2 days ago, or it was Friday actually, before the long weekend, there were some rumors about some Chinese company acquiring them, and because of that it shot up pre-market on this last Friday. If you look over here, this is pre-market, and it went from 17 cents all the way to 45 cents, all pre-market, and then it came back down in pre-market. So this is where it opens right here, and it really couldn't spike. It just kind of faded off all day before basing in the 26s or 27s. But regardless, it made it onto my watch list. I wanted to see how I was going to react today, for the possibility of maybe a squeeze back up to those. I was hoping to the 40s, but at least to 35 or so. And like I said, here's the 15-minute chart here, and just to explain my entry and why I ended up getting into this in the first place. If you look at Friday, it bottomed out at 26 cents, held that into the close and after hours, and then this morning it was holding that same level again, in the 26s, for a good period of time, and so that's kind of why it was on my radar. I was liking the fact that it wasn't breaking down further. You have a clear kind of double bottom going on here, over multiple days. So let's get into the 5-minute chart or the minute chart. Let's see. Yeah, here's the 5-minute chart. And you can see this is Friday over here. You get the spike, pre-market, choppy, and then fade. And then the hold of 26 cents or so. And we'll get into my entry. So I ended up taking 57,000 shares over 2 different accounts, and I ended up with essentially a 0.285 average. And I entered on this candle here, as it started to kind of perk up out of this 26, 27 area. It was a little premature maybe, but just kind of watching, there was some volume coming in, and it looked like it was about to make a move on level 2 as well. So that's why I started getting into SDRL right here. Other reason I liked it is because I had a really defined risk reward type scenario where I was risking off the 26 cent area. So it was, 2 cents, 2.5 cents, and I was comfortable with that, and I was comfortable with taking a little bit of size at least, knowing that there is some support there and that I could just cut if it goes below that, and no big deal. But instead it actually started ripping pretty right away. I mean, you can see this resistance from Friday over here at around 29 cents, but it basically blew straight through that, and then it started to trend really nicely. And I like when this happens, when you get a spike like this and then you get a pullback. I like to watch where does it pull back to, and see if it starts making higher lows, which this one did. Let me see if I can get you a line here. So if here's my entry, and then you get this low here, and you can just draw a line straight up this trend here. I mean, bottom to bottom, it's perfect. So I was not tempted to really sell much at all until this trend line broke. However, if you look back to Friday, whoops, I don't need a line here, but let's get back to my cursor tool. Okay. If you look back to Friday's open, it was at 35 cents. About 36 cents is the highest it got during the regular market hours on Friday. It's apparent on the daily chart too. I mean, that's where it topped out. And so I was a bit weary of 35 cents. I was hoping for a break of 35 cents. But just in case it didn't, I did start to lock in some profits into this candle here. Once we started getting into the 33, 34, 35 area, I started locking in profits. I sold some into this spike here, up towards the previous high, and then I sold some into this spike, and it left me a couple shares, but I didn't like how it was reacting to the previous day's high. It seemed really heavy. I actually was saying that in the chat. When I exited right here, I ended up with about a 34-cent average, and it was absolutely perfect because, as you can see, after that it failed and ended up back down at around 31 cents or so, which held into the close. But I'm basically over SDRL. I probably won't play it again unless I get a short opportunity somewhere down the road, because chances are they will be going bankrupt, and chances are that anyone holding their stock will be wiped out and get nothing. And I credit that to Michael Good, who always seems to know about the bankrupt stocks and what's going on with bankruptcies. So thank you, Michael Good. But that's that trade. I made about $2,500 or so. So between that and IDXG, that put me up about $2,200 on the day. But that's a great trade. It's a great long trade, and it's a crappy stock, but if you can't tell by now, I really don't care, as long as I can make some money. So there's SDRL. That's kind of my thinking, kind of sum it up. We have this support in the 26-cent area. I took a position as it started to perk up out of it, risking off 26 cents. And once a nice trend was established pretty early on, I just kind of rode the momentum until we got close to some major resistance from the day before. And when it was reacting sluggishly, I just took the rest of the trade off and took my profits. So good trade overall in SDRL. And let's get to the last one. This is TCON. And I'm actually still in this. I'm holding a short overnight on this. If I get to the daily chart, here's the daily chart on TCON. I don't know what the news is, or if there was news. Let's see if there's news. Actually, I don't need that, but prospectus. Oh, they're gonna present at some healthcare conference, I think. Not a big deal. Not amazing news. Anyways, so this is another beaten down chart, down from the 7s back in November, and hitting lows down at the low 2s, right around 2 for the last couple months. But it has gotten volume, and it's been spiking in the last five days straight, basically. You have 4 green days here, and this is today. Now, I was watching this. It is overextended. If you look at it, it's not amazingly overextended, but for no news and just the chart in general, I was looking for a short today, and I was thinking about this area just up in here before this gap down area. The last time it did any sort of major volume for this stock at least, was back on the 9th, which was this gap down day. And it topped out in the 420 area, closed at 410 or so. So what I wanted to watch how it reacted to 4, and I was hoping to be able to get a short in close to 4. Unfortunately, I was also in SDRL and I think IDXG, so I had to I wasn't able to concentrate too much, and I missed the top of this one. But I'll go to the 5-minute chart for you and show you my thinking. So technically it's still the front side of the move, which can be a little bit dangerous. Other problem with this stock is has a 5-cent spread, which is super annoying, but I've kind of learned to deal with it. Kind of bigger price swings actually at times, but for the most part it's just annoying. So here's this move that it made today, a nice one actually, from 253. I'm sorry, this is a 2-day chart. This was Friday's high here at 330, and starting right here is today, and it spiked right out of the gate, and it broke right through Friday's high, which kind of set the pace for this move, and set 330 as a pretty important level. Anyways, got a good spike, and it got all the way up to 390, which would have been an ideal starter for me at least, or would have been where I would have liked to get some shares. But I missed it, and then I watched it crack back down to 365, and then I was watching it again to see if it put in a lower high, which it did. Only got to 380 this time, so I decided to put on a short at 375. I think I got 1,000 shares or something like that. Nothing major. Still kind of testing out the short game. With some smaller size, plus I had some other positions I was working on, so I did take a smaller size, and then when it broke below there, it just looked weak. So I added some more at 360, I believe. I think another 1,000 shares or something at 360, and then we got a crack down to 340. But I was kind of thinking a bigger picture, and in my head, when I took the position, I was thinking short swing, but obviously that could have changed. Oh, and by the way, quickly, when I started in on this short, I was going to risk basically high of day at 390, and I would have cut if it got above that. I mean, I probably could have risked 4 or something like that, or 410 with the small size, but I'm just trying to stay disciplined. And if I'm going to be doing that in the future and trying this strategy, then I want to keep that discipline. Anyways, back to this. After 340, you got to grind up and to 365, which was already my average from my first two short entries. And so I grabbed another. I think I tried to grab 3,000 shares. I ended up grabbing 2,000 something at 365, leaving me with a 365 average. When it put this lower high in, then it basically cracked again right away, and it was a really stress-free afternoon when it came to this short. And this 330 level, when this broke, it kind of solidified for me. I'm going to swing this. I can't say for certain it's the backside of the move. It still didn't go red. It came close. I think, it got down to 315, which was the opening price today. But that's that. It was a good trade. Let me see. I think I am up. Yeah, I'm up 1580 right now. I've got 45.15 shares. Average cost 365. So that's what we're taking into tomorrow, which is a nice little cushion. And I am hoping that it will break the low a day, 315, and even get below 3. That would be great. If it holds 3, I may bail. Or if it gaps up, I may bail. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that's it for today. Just a couple trades, and And hope everyone's having a good week so far. And if you have any questions, of course, leave me a comment. Subscribe if you'd like. And I will try to be a little more consistent with the videos coming up here in the future. It's just been a little hectic. And that's it. Have a good one, guys. See you in the chat.